Continuous brew kombucha is a great way to keep a constant supply of this delicious and healthy fermented beverage on hand. It does require some occasional maintenance, and my brew is due. I'm going to walk you through how I do my maintenance right after this. Some of you may love kombucha as much as I do, but not know about the continuous brew method. Continuous brew kombucha is a brewing style where you can pull off drinkable kombucha, replace the lost liquid, and have more kombucha ready when you want it. This is advantageous over batch brew because you're not handling the SCOBY after every batch, and you don't have to wait for your next batch to finish before being able to drink it again. With continuous brew kombucha, you only have to perform maintenance on it every 6 months or so. 3 gallons is generally considered the minimum size for establishing a continuous brew kombucha setup. If your consumption rate isn't very high, it may not be the best choice for you. In this video, I'm going to show you the process I used for performing my first maintenance on my continuous brew kombucha. I won't go into how to set up a continuous brew. If you'd like me to in a follow-up video, let me know in the comments. The date at the top of my container is when I started this continuous brew. As you can see, it's now 6 months later, which is about the time you should be performing maintenance on your continuous brew setup. Over the last 6 months, the yeasts have accumulated and my brews have become increasingly tart. I need to reduce the size of the SCOBY, reduce the amount of yeast, and feed my brew. Using white distilled vinegar, I wipe down the surface where my SCOBY will be resting. This prevents bad bacteria from getting into my SCOBY. I carefully remove my SCOBY from the kombucha. You can use your hands if you want, provided they are properly sanitized with vinegar. In addition to the SCOBY that formed on my brew, I still have the 2 SCOBYs I used to start the brew at the beginning. Using a sharp knife, I quartered my SCOBY. To get the yeasts off the bottom of the jar and distribute throughout the kombucha, I give it a stir. Then I quickly remove 1 gallon from my container, which currently holds 3 gallons. You can drink this kombucha or make vinegar. I just discarded it. I put 1/4 of my SCOBY and both of the original SCOBYs back into my kombucha container. The rest go into another jar that will become a SCOBY hotel. SCOBY hotels are containers that hold unused SCOBYs. It is very useful to have in case your main SCOBY gets infected with mold or otherwise becomes non-viable. I empty about half a gallon of kombucha into the SCOBY hotel jar to act as the starter tea. Next, we're going to make concentrated feed tea. This saves a lot of time from brewing sweet tea for kombucha. The feeder tea will last up to 2 weeks in the refrigerator. In a large pot, I heat up 1 gallon of water and 32 organic black tea bags. This is 2 tea bags per cup of water. The tea has to steep for about 20 minutes. After the tea has steeped, remove the tea bags and discard them. I then add 8 cups of sugar, which is half a cup of sugar for every cup of water. Next, I'm going to feed the kombucha and SCOBY motel. I measure out 1.5 cups of concentrated feed tea. I pour the feed tea into another container through a strainer to catch any stray tea leaves. Next, I pour 6.5 cups of filtered water into the container with the feed tea. This makes 8 cups or 2 quarts of kombucha feed tea. Before adding the feed tea to the kombucha, I make sure that the temperature of the tea is between 68 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit. If the feed tea is too cold or too hot, let it sit at room temperature until it is safe to pour into your container. If the feed tea is too hot, it can kill your SCOBY. If it is too cold, it can stall the fermentation process and open your SCOBY up to mold growth. I pour the feed tea into my kombucha container, repeating the previous 2 steps of mixing concentrated feed tea with filtered water until my container is full. I also do this to feed my SCOBY hotel. Using a pH test strip, I test the pH of the kombucha tea. The pH is still quite low, so I will need to take steps to sweeten the kombucha in subsequent days. For now, it's fine where it is. Healthy kombucha should be within a pH of 2.5 to 4.0. I have a bunch of concentrated feed tea left, so that will go into the fridge. I will use it every day for the next several days to try and raise the pH of my kombucha to be a bit more on the sweeter side. It is important to discard any unused feeder tea concentrate after 2 weeks, or you will introduce mold into your kombucha. The SCOBY Hotel is sitting on a shelf, ready for duty as needed. It will need to be fed periodically, but it can easily sit a couple of months in between feedings. Never put your SCOBY in the refrigerator, as that will kill it. After about 5 days, a new SCOBY has formed over my container, and I am ready to start pulling kombucha from it. For my uses, I pull off 2 quarts every other day, replacing the lost fluid with feed tea. Once I have 6 bottles or so on hand, I just let it sit until I'm ready for it again. That's usually not more than 3 weeks. Otherwise, I would have to feed it again to keep it healthy. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel and spread the word. Let people know what I'm doing out here. My whole point is to share the journey. If other people might be interested in this, then let them know. I can't reach everybody. So I'm going to leave you with an existential question. If you don't like my video and subscribe to my channel, do you even exist? We'll explore that next time.